Tonight, the largest country in the world welcomes home a mixed martial arts giant and favorite son.
Fedor.
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 Fedor is my favorite fighter of all time.
Any Fedor fight's a big fight.
Fedor was a legend. Best guy I've ever fought.
No fear in his heart.
The best in the world.
Come on, Fedor is the greatest of all time.
For the first time in history, Bellator MMA lands in Moscow, Russia, with an epic night of fights headlined by the greatest heavyweight of all time.
Очень ответственно, и у меня всегда, конечно, бои мои. Я к ним максимально ответственно подхожу. Вот, но у себя дома хотелось бы, конечно, победить, чтобы наши зрители, россияне, порадовались.
After a career of global dominance, the last emperor, Fedor Emelianenko, returns to fight in the Russian capital when he battles #2 ranked heavyweight Timothy Johnson in an MMA Cold War. From Russia, with love, this is Bellator 269, live on Showtime. One of the single most recognizable cities in the world, and tonight, Moscow, Russia, will welcome home and honor one of its most recognizable superstars, as Fedor Emelianenko will fight in Russia. We're going to make some history tonight. It is great to see you. I'm Sean Grandi. Occupational hazard in broadcasting, right? We tend to overuse terms like icon, like GOAT. Well, I'll tell you what. When a guy has his face carved in stone on the Mount Rushmore of his sport, and he's on the 18th hole and he's playing it at home as a national hero, all bets are off. Fedor Emelianenko tonight returns to take on the American Tim Johnson, who is on a roll of his own, having just fought for the interim heavyweight title. An icon in the main event, an icon next to me now, and Big John McCarthy. We've all watched Fedor for years, making history, the win streak, all the above. He's not the same fighter he was then. None of us are the same person we were back then. But every single time he has stepped in the Bellator cage, it's been explosive.
Father Time takes something from all of us, but explosive is what Fedor is, and he still is. He is still fast. He is explosive, and he comes to fight. He wants to prove that he can compete with the very best. This is a guy, big power, big speed, and that is what makes him so hard to deal with. Is his speed is still there, along with that power. He comes to fight. He doesn't care whether he wins or loses. He cares whether he competes to the level that he wants to compete at.
What a remarkable second act Tim Johnson has written here for his career. This was off the radar, unimaginable he could be in this spot tonight. A couple of years ago, man, he turned everything around and very nearly became the interim heavyweight champion.
Boy, it was close, and you talk about the turnaround. When he ended up moving from Minnesota to Las Vegas and changing camps, he has made a complete change in the fighter that he is. He's got power in his hands. He's still got that wrestling. He's a bear. He is like a big grizzly, and he is a guy that you have to be careful with. He went to Paris and spoiled something for Czech Congo. He wants to come to Moscow and spoil Fedor's homecoming.
The ultimate road game going to be played tonight by Tim Johnson, the American, in Moscow to take on Fedor Emelianenko in the main event. On a 40-degree night in Moscow outside the VTB Arena. Possible snow in the forecast overnight, but plenty warm inside. A 5-year wait for Fedor to fight in Russia, a 10-year wait to fight in Moscow. Meanwhile, Gegard Mousasi, he's on a roll as the middleweight world champion. He's won 11 of 12, another successful title defense, staring at Austin Vanderford next. But one of the best 185ers in the world is losing patience, and his long wait to get back in the cage is over.
And now we welcome our first fighter, Sharaf Sherhan Davlatmuradov.
Sharaf Davlatmuradov is a happy young man this week, as you can see with the enthusiasm. 16 years ago on New Year's Eve, he watched Fedor knock out the 400-pound Brazilian Zuluzinho and has idolized him ever since. So when he got the chance to open a Fedor card in Moscow, that's a dream come true, even if his only choice was to fight one of the most dangerous middleweights in the world. And John, adding to the complications, someone he considers a very good friend.
Well, they've known each other for a long time. They've trained together. But when it comes to your career and you're offered the opportunity to step up and make a name for yourself, taking on someone like Anatoly Tokov, that's how you do it. You get a win against a guy that is set up as one of the mainstays in the middleweight division of Bellator. I think this is a great matchup. I've been in there and seen Davlatmuradov fight. He is good. He's good everywhere. He's got good standing. He's got good ground. He's going to have his best game to win this fight tonight.
A 6-fight win streak, but he's about to take a big step up in competition.
And now his opponent, Anatoly Tokov.
First time you reffed him, John, was the first time I saw him in Tokyo. The first Rising event 6 years ago. He knocked out Bellator veteran A.J. Matthews in less than a minute. Part of a dominant run. 10 years, 23 fights, 22 wins, 16 finishes, 5-0 in Bellator. His visa issues are behind him. He's ready to fight for the title. We talked last week about Vadim Nemkov being the best fighter in the world that no one is talking about. That may be the next title Anatoly Tokov gets to claim.
I'll tell you right now, he is just a dynamite fighter in all ranges and all aspects of fighting. He hits like a truck. His stand-up is very sharp, very clean. He's accurate with his punches. He's got great kicks. His ground game, he's got just an incredible ground and pound game, and he's got great submissions. When we look for an MMA fighter, we're looking for someone that's got that full package. He's got it all, plus he's got cardio, he's got heart. We've seen him hurt, we've seen him come back from being hurt and get the win. This guy is something special. Here he is
the one you're talking about.
Yeah, well, you know, he got knocked down by Gerald Harris with a huge shot, one that would have put most people out. He worked his way back from it and ends up getting the win against a really tough guy in Gerald Harris. He is just good everywhere. Look at the elbows here. He gets that crucifix position and just starts landing heavy shots. They're precise. There's no excess. There's no point of, you know, oh, this one's gonna be light. Everything's got power. That's the one he brings.
Let's check out the tail of the tape in the opener.
Simply put, you said it, 29-2, 18-3-1. Both have outstanding records. They know each other, they're friends, but they're not going to be for a couple minutes.
A night that ends with a worldwide icon and a national hero making the walk in his home country begins, as always, with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Bellator MMA Live on Showtime. Tonight from Moscow, Russia, here at VTB Arena, Bellator 269 gets underway now with 3 5-minute rounds in the middleweight division. Introducing the blue corner at 5'11", weighing in 186 pounds, making his Bellator debut. He enters with 18 professional victories, 3 losses, 1 draw by way of Tajikistan. He fights out of Barnaul, Russia, presenting Sharaf Sherhan Davlatmuradov. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5'10", weighing in 185 pounds, a perfect 5-0 inside the Bellator cage. Overall, he brings an impressive 29 professional victories, only 2 defeats, fighting out of Staliorsko, Russia, Anatoly Tokov. In charge, your referee, Kevin McDonald.
Both men said tomorrow we drink together, tomorrow we eat together, tonight we fight.
Oh, nice
Quick right. What goes away when you're fighting a training partner, John?
Well, what goes away is the you know what he brings, you know what he does well, and so you go into it already knowing, well, I got to be careful of this. I have to watch. He likes to do this. All that information is there, so normally you get a faster fight starting off from the beginning.
We talked about this so much last week going into the Ryan Bader fight with Corey Anderson, and that one didn't last very long. Will go back to being the heavyweight world champion, unify that interim title with Valentin Moldavsky.
Nice little switch step with the right hand over the top.
Now, Tokov has been out of the cage for a long time. Don't forget that, as dominant as he has been. He's eating some shots here, trying to get inside.
Davlamuradov doing a really nice job, and he's done this in the past. He's good with his movement, little head movements, left and right. He keeps his head off the center when he comes in.
Despite the inactivity, and it's only Tokov says, I'll fight Gegard Mousasi right now. Thinks he should be ahead of Austin Vanderford in line. We always say, John, a lot going on here. What's at the top of that list?
Well, right now what you have going on is those double unders that you see. That is a dominant position, but he wants to keep his hands not in the middle of Tokov's back. That's going to cause him a problem. You want to bring him either up high or down low. That's why Tokov was able to stay with that position and use the fence as a balance point and then turn the position.
We might set a record for glove touches here. Can you relax a little bit against the training partner? A tendency to a guy you've only essentially sparred with.
Tokov touch.
Oh, that's a big overhand right.
I don't think he's that hurt, but it definitely got his attention.
No question.
That's why you see him going to that clinch. Right away, gets the double unders again. But Tokov,
yeah, he pulls his way out of it. Tokov's tried the inside trip.
Wasn't successful with it, but that gets the attention of your opponent. He knows what you're trying to do now. Tokov just trying to feel that pressure, see where he can turn. Nice job by Davlamuradov. Turn the position. Again, see those hands? You want them down on the hips where that red band is on the shorts. That's a better position for him than where he's got it right now. And that's why this happens.
We're talking so much about Tokov, and rightly so. He has earned all the hype, but Davlamuradov has not lost in 4.5 years. He has won 6 in a row. And that damage and that cut isn't a big cut, but it's in a spot that's troublesome.
Yeah. Right now, it's not giving him any problems. He's not dabbing at it or anything like that, but we'll see if it starts to affect the vision. You just saw him swipe at it right there.
change again.
Nice digging of the underhook. Get Murdov's weight up. He's looking for that 10-finger guillotine. He's so good with. Doesn't have it here, but he does have him on the ground. And here's where Tokov does a lot of damage. Goes back to the neck. Oh, lost it.
He was a half-inch away from getting that leg over. Now into the guard.
And the big thing for Tokov when you're looking at him in this round, it's the speed of the fight. He's got to get himself back to being used to that speed.
This is an interesting round to call. Not easy. Begins with a glove touch, it ends with a glove touch. As the two good friends goes through the first 5 minutes. How'd you see that first round? That's a tough one.
You know, it is a tough one, but you go back and you saw Tokov get knocked down. That didn't hurt him. It was off balance.
Yeah.
But you did see Murdov get hurt. You saw him get a little stunned by what Tokov did. Here's at that point where that punch, you see it was because of the leg being held up. He's off balance. So it's really not, you know, based upon being hurt. He just was in a position where he could be pushed back. And then you saw the shots that when Tokov hit Murdov, that right there hurts him. Watch him take him. You can't see it with the leg, but knee coming up in the middle. And then with the takedown, the guillotine attempt, that should go 10-9 for Tokov.
I love Murodov most of his fights, and it's funny because he doesn't look out of frame at his body, but most of his fights have been at 170.
Yeah, in fact, you know, when I first watched him fight, it was at 170. He had a great fight against Brett Cooper. Brett Cooper caught him, beat him, and he came back and got that win back for Brett Cooper.
And Brett Cooper just one of two guys to stop Murodov in 22 professional fights.
This second round is where I would expect Tokov. Now he's back into the fight as far as all that ring rust, all that time away from the cage. Now the speed of the fight is back. He's feeling it, and that's why you're seeing him start to press the action a little bit. Nice.
Good body kick.
That did not feel good at all. That was right under the elbow.
You've seen some of the toughest men in the world take one of those shots in the wrong spot, and it's done.
Well, it's the one thing we talk about, you know, anybody can get knocked out, and it can happen in a variety of forms of the way it happens. But a body shot shuts your body down, and it's painful. You don't feel the knockout. You definitely feel the body shot.
Tokov went into aggressively. He'll land that overhand right.
Nice stiff jab by Murdov.
Just that's keeping Tokov honest.
See right there, perfect opportunity. He missed the counter, but that's what he's looking for. Murdov extended, got a little overextended on it. Tokov wasn't able to capitalize.
A little closer that time.
That right there, that jab by Tokov, he needs to go back to that and go back to it often. That sets up all of his offense.
Right there, that's exactly what he did. He set it up with the left jab.
That's it.
Landed one of his better shots.
That's why he gets the easy trip takedown now. All of this just adds up, and when you're getting into that flow, nice job of controlling that backside ankle. Now it's going to be tough for Murdov to come using the cage to get himself back up. He's trying to force his back towards the canvas. Notice where he has his legs too, Sean. His legs are not in a position to stop the movement of Tokov right now. That's why he's switching his hips.
Tokov close to getting over. Tokov waiting for Davlatmuradov to make a mistake, trying to get up.
And everyone talks about, why doesn't he just stand up? It's not easy. There's a ton of pressure there.
Yeah, you try it.
It is not what you think. Nice job of digging the underhook.
Yeah, we got him. It's also tiring to hold your guy there, too.
It definitely can be. One of the things, that's what you're looking for, is the guy using his body weight and technique, or is he driving into him by using muscle? Tokov's got his head in the right place, but loses his...
Yeah, he does.
He needs to continue on that single leg. Very nice job. Turn that corner with it. And at this point, he needs to let go of that leg and start wrapping his hands around the midsection of Davlatmuradov and drive forward. That way, where the hands are where Davlatmuradov is in this position, it doesn't do anything for him. It actually makes it to where it works against him. That's what I'm talking about. See how he just moved the hand, drive forward.
Tokov again, the aggressor. A very tough physical round, too. I think the discussion in the MMA community all week was, man, are all these fights going to last one round? And of course, whenever you say that, there's no scenario by which it's going to happen.
This is a tough fight by two guys that are very skilled. Tokov obviously landing some of the heavier shots overall, but that was a clean left hand by Davlatmuradov right there. Right hand lands. Good action.
Two close rounds, but both sort of leaning Tokov.
I believe that Tokov is the one that is leading this fight. I do believe I have him up 20-18 right now. I think Davlatmuradov needs to do something special in this round or get a finish. And it's not that it's a close fight, but that's the way you score it. And all it takes is one little thing to make that difference.
Tokov has only gone to the judges' scorecard 7 times in 31 pro fights. Doesn't happen very often.
Oh,
that's
nice
a
right.
counter right. It did some damage.
Again, off of the jab.
Yep. The other thing about moving up to 185, you haven't been hit by 185ers.
There is a difference, and there's a big difference in what they can accept. What you were knocking somebody out with before now just makes them kind of snort a little bit and walk forward.
As we've seen all throughout the night so far in the prelims and beyond, so much pressure on the Russian fighters, particularly the Team Fedor fighters, trying to perform for their country, trying to perform for their teacher on his night. Carrying a lot of emotion into the cage. Davlatmuradov is just not getting out of there quite fast enough, and he's just taking some of these shots here on the way out.
And a big difference that you're seeing, I want you to watch his head placement when he's throwing. He's not bringing his head off of the center line now. Now it's staying right down the center, and that's why Tokov is being able to land these counters.
The offense for Muradov not nearly as crisp. He had a couple of clean shots early in the fight, but you slow a fighter down by just 10%, and that makes a huge difference.
No doubt about it. You know, all these shots are adding up, and being a little bit more tired now in the third round. The speed, the crispness is just not quite the same, and those shots, he just keeps on landing and taking those. Makes it difficult to get your offense going. Again, that right hand just found its mark.
And again, slow to get out of there. Head movement isn't what it was.
See, notice when he came in, head was right on the center line. Finally realized, oh, and then swung it to the outside, but that head is coming dead center. That's not going to help him.
The first 2 rounds were close. This one has not been. Volkov still stalking. Volkov easily turns him.
Muradov's wrestling has gotten much better. He did a good job of stonewalling that right there, and just where he's putting his hands, his hand position, you can see he's been working on his wrestling defense.
Stop time. Just go over here.
That is not what friends do to each other.
No. With friends like that.
Just let me know when you're okay. Sure. Yep. All right, stay right there. Ready on the side? All right, guys, let's keep it clean.
It's very Kevin McDonald mode. You sure?
You sure?
You sure?
I'm feeling something.
Shots from Muradov just a little bit slow. And Tokov has not seemed to lose any of his strength or speed as this fight has gone on.
And that was pure power right there. Nice squeeze, got his hips into his opponent, brings him over on the backside.
There's the step over, beautiful.
This is what
and
happens when
a
you're
mount.
tired.
So quick. Now Tokov, we got 40 seconds to work from this spot.
Trying to frame there. Nice explosion.
Escape.
Great job by Muradov to get himself back to his feet and returns the favor on Tokov.
He does.
Nice job. A little high there. Tokov needs to come up onto his feet, start to shake him off. Nice job by Muradov. Gets back to getting his hooks inside. He's still high. It's going to end that way.
It goes the full 15. Anatoly Tokov's first fight back in 2 years. Friends before, friends after.
One of the most highly anticipated fights of the year for the very first super middleweight undisputed world championship. It's champion versus champion.
Well, you will see something different.
You will see soon.
You will see something different. I promise you.
I promise you.
I promise you.
I ain't these
You're
other
gonna
boys.
pay everything.
You gonna see.
You're gonna pay everything.
You gonna see.
You're gonna feel something different. You're gonna feel something different. I promise you.
You gonna see.
You will see. You're gonna feel something different.
Yeah?
You know in this level. You know in this level.
You gonna see. I promise
You're gonna see.
I ain't
You're
nothing
gonna see.
fucker.
You're gonna see.
You gonna see, motherfucker.
You're gonna see, motherfucker. Who motherfucker? Motherfucker, you motherfucker. I don't tell
All of you
who tell me what I can't do and blah, blah, blah bullshit. A lot of you live believable lives, and you've accomplished believable things. So when I set out to live an unbelievable life and accomplish unbelievable things. So I don't need you guys to believe in me when I say what I say. Matter of fact, I want you to keep doing what you're doing and keep not believing in me, because you're the very reason that I'm here.
I just gonna say something. You're not on my level, and you will see. November 6th. You're not gonna find out. I promise you. I'm gonna knock out this guy. Less than eight rounds. Easy.
It will be the first 168-pound undisputed champion in the sport of boxing.
Be.
Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Platt. You've seen the build-up. It's live on Showtime pay-per-view Saturday, November 6th, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific time. And he's right, John. Nobody does believe in Caleb Platt, and you understand why, but the biggest upsets in sports history, we never see them coming before they happen.
Absolutely not. This is why it all comes down to the saying, you got to fight the fight.
Sharaf Davlatmuradov and Anatoly Tokov go the distance. Michael C. Williams has the result.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we'll go to your 3 judges at cage side. Your first judge, Jacob Montalvo, scores the fight 29-28. He sees the fight for Davlatmuradov. Your second judge at cage side, Ben Cartledge, scores the fight 29-28. He sees the fight for Tokov. Your third and final judge at cage side, Michael Bell, scores the fight 29-28 for the winner by split decision, Anatoly Tokov.
Well, that was interesting.
Well, that's what it really comes down to. That's why you have 3 judges, because not each judge sees the same thing, and that's why the 2 that see it, they saw it the right way.
30 wins by age 31 for Anatoly Tokov, with his sights set on the middleweight world title. He's with me, Kavito.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with the winner, Anatoly Tokov. Дамы и господа, победитель боя Anatoly Tokov. This is your 6th Bellator win, and only the 2nd one to go to a decision. Would you say that this is one of the most difficult fights in the organization? Это твоя 6-я победа в Беллаторе подряд, но только 2-я, которая прошла дистанцию и дошла до судей. Сказал бы ты, что это один из самых сложных твоих боев?
Да, добрый вечер, друзья. Всем спасибо огромное за поддержку. Скажем так, я 2 года не дрался, и я считаю, это мое возвращение. Дальше буду только идти в гору. Вот, этот бой был очень тяжелый для меня. Я, чуть-чуть позабыл, что это такое. Но я думаю, с каждым боем я буду прибавлять. Вот, и в ближайшее время обещаю, стану чемпионом этой организации. Всем спасибо.
I took a 2-year break, and I'm only going to go uphill from here, and I promise that I'm going to be a champion of this organization. И на эту тему, считаешь ли ты, что Анатолий Токов заслуживает боя за титул 6-й победой подряд? Do you feel as though it's time for a title shot for Anatoly Tokov?
Я считаю, что я заслуживаю, да. Может быть, этот бой не показал на все, что я способен. Но у меня не получилось даже наполовину раскрыться. Вот. Дальше будет намного лучше.
I believe I deserve a title shot, though in this particular fight, I couldn't show everything that I'm capable of. Дамы и господа, поздравляем победителя боя Анатолий Токов.
Another win for Team Fedor. You saw Vadim Nemkov, you saw Valentin Moldavsky. And tonight they hope will end in ultimate celebration and a clean sweep. But Anatoly Tokov said didn't feel it was his best performance. All he's done now is go to 30-2. He has won 23 of 24. Going to make his case. 2 years ago, it seemed like Tim Johnson had reached the end of the road. An accomplished UFC vet got knocked out when he came to Bellator by Czech Congo and Vitaly Medikov in his first 2 Bellator fights. But a 3-fight win streak not only put him back at the top of the division, it also put him on the radar of the GOAT. Not only worshipped in his home country, but undefeated here as well. And tonight, in the latest chapter of this extraordinary fighting legacy, Fedor Emelianenko arrives at the VTB Arena in Moscow. As you just saw, his next generation is just getting started. Since the beginning, Russian fighters have been a major part of Bellator MMA's DNA. Numerous Russian world champions have helped put Bellator on the map. Fighters like Alexander Storm Shlemenko.
Bang! Beautiful shot, put him out.
Andrei Koreshkov. Alexander Volkov became the Bellator heavyweight world champion, only to lose it to fellow Russian Vitaly Medikov.
He is Bellator's new heavyweight world champion.
As more fighters from the region joined the roster, Bellator's global expansion began, with shows in London, Ireland, Japan, Israel, Hungary, France, and Italy. With a growing worldwide footprint, it was time for Bellator to secure MMA's biggest international superstar, the greatest of all time, Fedor Emelianenko. Fedor made an impact not only as a fighter, but also as a coach and mentor. And Team Fedor began its conquest of Bellator, with Valentin Moldavsky holding the interim heavyweight title and Vadim Nemkov successfully defending his light heavyweight belt. Bellator's Russian presence is as strong as the love of country these warriors possess.
How good is that?
And it comes full circle tonight as Bellator MMA makes history with its debut in Moscow, featuring a showcase of Russian stars. None bigger than the last emperor, and those were goosebumps just watching that. Imagine what happens later tonight when he walks into the building for the main event. The influence in Bellator, obviously, we've seen it. You know, Vadim Nemkov already became a world champion. Valentin Moldavsky is the interim champion. I go all the way back to guys like Andrei Koreshkov coming in here and looking like he was going to be dominant for a decade and beyond. It is remarkable how many fighters have come from just this one part of the world.
It's amazing. The region has just produced an incredible amount of talent. And I mean supreme talent. That's the big difference. When you're talking about guys from this region, you're talking about in Bellator right now, you said Nemkov, Moldavsky, you got Tokov. Those are all prodigies of Fedor. Then you're going outside of it and going to your Magomedovs, going into Mamedovs. All of these guys are just simply great fighters, and they know how to fight not only in one realm, they fight the entire game. They're good in the stand-up. Their wrestling is fantastic, and on the ground, they're dominating. They are just what MMA is all about.
The provincial dominance in Dagestan is becoming familial dominance. Because most people around the world, well, there was a time couldn't find Dagestan on the map. Now it is quickly becoming the center of the MMA world. And his cousin just retired with his place on the Mount Rushmore secure of this sport. But the family win streak continues.
And now set to make his way to the cage, Patrick Piatila.
Most young boys in Finland are directed by attrition towards hockey. That's really more of the national sport. but it wasn't really for Patrick Piatila. So he found a different one, rugby. And he thinks that it has uniquely prepared him for an MMA career. He sort of stumbled into rugby by accident, ended up on the national team. He stumbled into MMA, and he believes, despite his early record, that he's destined for greatness in this sport. We talked to him, John, the other day. He's all smiles. He's all optimism. I can't tell if this is a supremely confident young man or someone who doesn't quite understand the woods he's about to find himself in.
Perfectly put, because he was extremely confident, and as you said, supremely confident to the point where it was like
whistling through the graveyard confident.
Has someone told you a different name about who you're going to be fighting? Because you're fighting a guy that is undefeated and has walked through just about every opponent put in front of him easily because he's so skilled. But Patrick basically said, he goes, look, he doesn't understand what I can do, and I do, and I know watching him, I've watched his fights, watching his style, I think I match up great, and I think I can beat him.
And now, making his way, Usman Nurmagomedov.
It wasn't the easiest week for Usman Nurmagomedov. Struggle making weight and sit out some of his media sessions. He made some news this week talking about Khabib one day being a better coach than a fighter, which would be an extraordinary accomplishment, something we've been talking about quite a bit with Fedor. John, we saw him on the big stage, though, in LA on the Pitbull McKee undercard, and we didn't see him for very long.
No, we didn't see him for very long, and it's funny because, you know, people see someone and they think, oh, I think I'm better here. I think I can do this with him. And Manny Murrow is a guy I really enjoy as a fighter. That was his last opponent. He said, John, I'm going to dominate this guy. And after the fight, I talked with him. He says, oh, my God. As soon as he hit me, I realized how good he really was. And this kid is special. That knee to the body against Manny Murrow just put him out. He is a supreme striker. He's got unbelievable wrestling. And I'm telling you, when he gets on the ground, his ground and pound is nasty good. He is the whole package.
The 155 world title will be decided in Dublin in 13 days. Sometime in the not too distant future, Usman Nurmagomedov would like a shot at 155.
Well, Usman being 23 years of age, very young, but the one thing is he did have to change the weight. He didn't make that 155, and that says something about how big he's getting, and will he be able to stay there?
To Michael C. Williams.
Bellator MMA now features a contract weight matchup at 160 pounds, scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds live on Showtime. We introduce first the blue corner at 6'1", weighing in 158.5 pounds. His professional record, 11 wins, 8 losses, fighting out of Lahti, Finland, Patrick Piatila. And across the cage, his adversary out of the red corner at 5'11", weighing in 160 pounds even. As a professional, he's undefeated, 13 victories, no defeats. Fighting out of Makhachkala, Dagestan, Russia, Usman Nurmagomedov. And the referee in charge, Kevin McDonald.
Guess be as enthusiastic and happy as Patrick Piatila is your entire life. I mean, things will work out. Maybe he knows something we don't.
We're going to find out. That's the best part. That was strange. Something happened right there.
Yeah.
Not sure if he hurt his knee or not. A funny step, and his ankle just went again. That one low calf kick It has taken and hit the perennial nerve on Patrick. He's having a hard time controlling his foot based upon that one kick.
Where is that nerve located?
That nerve is running all the way down your leg, but it especially comes towards the surface on the outside of your leg, down by from your knee to your ankle. That's why that low calf kick has become so just devastating in our sport, because there's not a lot of meat, there's not a lot of muscle for it to be protected by, and when it gets damaged, it stays damaged for a while.
Level change, easy takedown into the guard. Usman looking to work. No, he's gone through the change, obviously working with Javier Mendez now in San Jose. And of course, he lost his coach, his uncle.
Well, he came out with his uncle's face on his shirt. That was Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, and that was the guy that they all believed, and that was their coach, and that is the role that Khabib has just taken over and done so well with. But it is unusual to see Usman taking his opponent down this early in a fight, especially one that you saw damaged. So somewhere, I'm believing in their game plan, they just decided, hey, I want you to go out there and do this, and I want you to take him down. I want you to work on this. I want you to go after him on the ground, and I am telling you, Nurmagomedov's ground and pound is vicious.
Trying to pass. Got one good short elbow, and he just landed another. Nurmagomedov has only been to the third round twice. And these 13 wins, 8 of them have ended in the first round. Now you see the damage that those elbows have done.
Nice job bringing his leg up. What people don't understand is they think that, oh, you know, Usman here is using a lot of strength to stay on top. He's not. He's using base and balance. It's a feel. Every time Patrick moves, he moves and adjusts his weight so he stays in a good balance with a lot of pressure, which stops everything that Patrick is trying to do as far as getting up.
Usman just trying to get that left leg out so he can pass.
Patrick's got that underhook on this side. You can see it takes him away.
There it is.
That puts him right to his back. Almost to the mount.
And Nurmagomedov is working so hard. He's been about an inch away here. He slides the leg out. Now into side control. He's trying to make that quick move in the mount. Doing a good job for the moment, keeping him out of it, but Nurmagomedov just too strong.
And too technically good.
Yeah.
You saw how he brought his foot up. Talking about going into S mount. He already is in the position on the back. This fight's going to be over.
Nurmagomedov rolls in. This is deep.
There's a lot of pain, a lot of pressure on the jaw right there. Now he switches.
Switches the grip. Seemed to let it go though, John.
Did. He just locked it right back up. It's deep.
And this is even deeper.
It's not going to get out.
We're done. Checkmate. The family goes to 72-3-1. Dynasty in the making.
There you go, Costa Zoo.
Yeah.
Watch him pass here. Comes up. Patrick actually does a very nice job of blocking the knee, but he still is able to get himself in a position. He goes all the way through, and at this point, Patrick turns, and when he turns, his neck is exposed. He had it with that jaw lock and then blocks it back in. This is deep. There's no way he is getting out of that. He's reaching back. There's no strength there. And he's actually going to sleep as he's tapping.
You said he took the fight to the ground earlier than he normally does. It really was almost as if this is what the coaching staff and his family, this is what they scripted. They wanted this fight to be.
This is exactly what it is. This is what a fighter like Usman, he's got so many tools that you don't have to fight the same fight every time. And they're telling him, we want you to go do this. He goes and he does it, and look at the victory.
Michael C. Williams has the final word.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, the tap comes by way of a rear naked choke, officially 4 minutes, 6 seconds into round number 1 by submission. Still undefeated, Usman Nurmagomedov.
His uncle on his shirt, so very proud, looking down on Usman Nurmagomedov, who goes to 14-0, and he's with Mikabino.
You don't need to fight guys like me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with the winner, Usman Nurmagomedov. Я с победителем боя Усманом Нурмагомедовым. This is your 14th victory in a row, your second premature victory in Bellator. Tell us, what are your ambitions and goals in the promotion of Bellator? Это твоя 14-я победа подряд, вторая досрочная победа в Беллаторе. Скажи, к чему ты стремишься, какие у тебя амбиции в Беллаторе?
Взять нельзя, да? Приветствую, Москва. Салам алейкум всем. Спасибо, что пришли поболеть за нас сегодня. Я думаю, я уже нахожусь в топ-10. Я думаю, как это было несправедливо. Приводить меня и народным такого соперника. Я хотел дать нормальное шоу для моих фанатов, для всех близких. Но, Bellator, пожалуйста, дайте мне кого-нибудь из топ-10 в следующий раз. А то уже хейтеров больше становится.
Thank you everyone for your support tonight. I wish I could have had someone from top 10 to put a real performance, and I'm asking Bellator to give me someone from top 10 because the amount of haters are increasing. Usman, I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but how helpful it is to have a legend of Khabib Nurmagomedov in your corner. Усман, скажи, пожалуйста, я уверен, тебя это очень часто спрашивают, но что для тебя значит иметь такую легенду, как Кhabib Nurmagomedov в твоем углу?
Для меня это все. Это человек, который учит меня, как вести себя, как находиться в обществе людей, как... Ну, знаете, человек, который учит меня всему, и я не знаю, какая у меня была бы бойцовская карьера без моего старшего брата. Так что я очень сильно благодарен ему. Alhamdulillah.
It means everything to me. I really don't know how my career would go if I didn't have my brother Khabib. He really teaches me everything, teaches me how to behave and act in public. And of course, the question that I have to ask, how does it feel to fight in your home country of Russia in the first Bellator event? Вопрос, который должен тебя спросить. Скажи, какие твои чувства на тему того, что ты дерешься на первом турнире Bellator в России?
Ну, конечно, это потрясающее чувство драться у себя на родине. Смотри, какую публику мы собрали. Всем спасибо, что пришли поболеть. Сегодня здесь у меня вот мой отец, мои дяди. Я очень сильно благодарен этим людям, потому что они очень сильно поддерживают меня. Также хочу поблагодарить школу Абдуманапа Нурмагомедова, в котором я проходил подготовку к этому бою, также тренировал Магомеда Багандова, Анзора, Мачаева Мурада, не знаю, Шамиля Заурова, старшего брата, который постоянно рядом со мной. И также хотел бы видеть, что мой тренер, Javier, coach, thank you so much for everything. I love you, coach.
It's a fantastic feeling to fight in my home country of Russia. I want to thank everyone who supported me. Quite a lot of uncles came in to support me, and I want to thank my coach, Javier, and especially a place where I went through the training camp, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov's academy. Дамы и господа, победитель боя Усман Нурмагомедов.
Ain't nothing but a family thing. Usman Nurmagomedov goes to 14-0. So who's next? Is it Koichi Yamauchi? Is it Brent Primus? He says he wants someone in the top 10, John.
I say give him someone in the top 10. He has proved how good he is. He deserves to be in the top 10. He deserves to be fighting the top guys in the division.
He is at home, but there are road games and there are road games. Tim Johnson has served his country. He has served this sport at the highest level in the UFC and Bellator, but he has never had an experience quite like the one he is going to have tonight. When you ponder his opponent, when you ponder what he is walking into tonight, when you ponder the icon on the other side, you ask this question: has there ever been an athlete that better represented his country, his people, in demeanor, in accomplishment, in style, than Fedor Emelianenko has represented Russia for 2 decades? He will make an unforgettable walk in the main event in a country in which he has never lost. Unbeaten at home.
Almost unbeaten everywhere.
That's true.
Honest, because his run in Japan was remarkable. He is just the epitome of what you're looking at with a Russian fighter. He's stoic, he's quiet, man, he's explosive, and he's great.
That is the main event tonight in Bellator, a month that started in London, rolled through Phoenix, the Bellator cage here in Moscow tonight, and then it's back to the world title chase in 2 weeks. The weather turns cooler, the MMA action heats up on Showtime. It's off to the Emerald Isle on Friday, November 5th from the 3 Arena in Dublin, featuring 2 of Ireland's favorite sons. James Gallagher faces Patchy Mix in a bantamweight battle, and in the main event, it's Dubliner Peter Queally and Patricky Pitbull in a rematch for the vacant lightweight world title. Then Friday, November 12th, the Bellator cage returns to the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino as one of the greatest female fighters to ever step in the cage, Chris Cyborg, defends her featherweight world title when she battles Ireland's Sinead K.O. Kavanaugh. And on Friday, December 3rd, from the Mohegan Sun Arena, bantamweight world champion Sergio Pettis makes his first title defense against former bantamweight champion Kyoji Horiguchi. It's 3 amazing nights of world championship fights only on Showtime. A big fall, and now we can tell you for the first time, Pettis Horiguchi for the bantamweight world title. That is a big way to end 2021.
That's an outstanding way. You're talking about Pettis, a guy that just won the title against Juan Archuleta, put on a fantastic performance against the guy who I love. He gave up the title. He won that title. He got hurt, so I'm not going to hold on to it. I'll come back and get it. Horiguchi is fantastic, and this is going to be a battle between the 2.
That's the bantamweight world title. Once upon a time, the heavyweight world title in Bellator was property of Vitaly Minakov. He dominated the division when he was able to fight. He's probably one of the best fighters in Bellator history, John, that nobody talks about.
Well, let's talk about a guy 22-1, and that one loss, it's a loss. He was winning the fight, but he ended up getting an infection. He took some antibiotics. It took his gas tank away, and he lost the decision. This guy is phenomenal, but the guy he is going to be facing in Saeed Sowoma is so good, so calm, so relaxed. He just lets the fight flow, but he can't let the fight flow too long against a guy like Minakov with the wrestling that he possesses.
For someone, this is a really impressive step up. He impressed us the last time we saw him earlier this summer, but to take a fight against Minakov in Moscow, that shows you something right there.
He's been working out with Minakov before, so he knows what Minakov brings, and he looked at this. This is an opportunity for me to make that step. 22-1, I want to put another mark on that and make it 22-2.
The former heavyweight world champion in the co-main event. And Vitaly Minakov, he became that heavyweight world champion. That was back in 2013. And as we said, it was contract issues, not another fighter that ended his reign. 22-1 is about as dominant as you could be in a career. Does he have another run in him at age 36? Do it. He'll have to beat a hungry young fighter to stay on that path.
And now making his way to the cage, Saeed Sowoma.
It is one of the most popular expressions in all of MMA, right? Deep water. I'm going to drag him into deep water. A euphemism about the later rounds, deep in a fight when the going gets tough. You know who's unconcerned with deep water? Saeed Soma, because he was a swimmer in college. He's been a swimmer his whole life. And the last couple of months, he's gone back to the pool. The result, as the kids like to say today, John, he's got cardio for days.
Well, it's that swimming that has made it to where he is a guy that pushes the pace of a fight, and he uses the cardiovascular as a weapon because he uses his swimming. He does a lot of sprints with it, but he does a lot of underwater work. And he says, look, I'm used to holding my breath, and if a guy can get a choke on me and it's not a blood choke, they can squeeze and I can outlast him. His keys to victory for this weapon is he weaponize your cardio, which he does. Movement in and out, side to side. Do not move backwards against Minikoff. That's going to be a mistake.
He's trained with a lot of different guys at ATT down in Coconut Creek over the years. One of them was Vitaly Minikoff.
And now we welcome Vitaly Minikoff.
The old archaic expression is that behind every man is a great woman. Natalia Minikoff doesn't stand behind her husband. She leads, and she runs the show. A former athlete, a former fighter, and now a mother of three who understands the game and has become the most important member of Team Minikoff, allowing her husband to concentrate on his craft, something he does very, very well.
Look, Vitaly Minikoff is one of the best heavyweight fighters in the world. There's no doubt about it. You can look at his record. Everybody they put in front of him, he runs through. He's got great wrestling. He's got a lot of power in his hands. The real question is he hasn't been fighting. He's had visa issues, and that's been the deal why he hasn't been. What has he been doing in all of this time that he's been away? Has he been staying sharp? We're going to find out today. For his keys to victory, use your superior wrestling, which it is fantastic, and elbows from the top position. When he gets in the top position, he drops devastating elbows, and that can definitely end the fight for him.
36 years old. Can he make one more run at the top? And the heavyweight world champion, Ryan Bader. That's the question. Something we're going to be talking about over our final two fights tonight. The true heavyweight versus the hybrid heavyweight as we check out Tail of the Tape.
And that's what you're talking about right here with the Tail of the Tape. 265 pounds, the upper limit of the heavyweight division against that hybrid 243 in Soma.
Big one in the heavyweight division. Here's Michael C. Williams.
Bellator MMA now presents tonight's co-main event live on Showtime. We're set for 3 5-minute rounds in the heavyweight division. Introducing first the blue corner at 6 foot, weighing in 243 pounds as a professional, 7 wins, 2 losses. By way of Suriname, he fights out of Coconut Creek, Florida, USA, Saeed Soma. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 6'3", weighing in 265 pounds even. The former Bellator heavyweight world champion enters with 22 professional victories, only 1 defeat, fighting out of Bryansk, Russia, presenting Vitaly Minikoff. In charge of the action, your referee, Brian Miner.
It has been over 2 years since Vitaly Minikoff knocked out Tim Johnson. And watching all those highlights of the dominant Minikoff earlier in his career, John, obviously you can tell at age 36 he looks like a different fighter.
Well, he's going to be different, and that inactivity is part of it. The real question for me is cardio-wise, how's he going to go? Because Soma is so good with his cardio and will push a pace. He's very relaxed in his movements, but when he gets the opportunity, he will push.
He's talked about his breathing. If he gets in a bad spot, Saeed Soma, that the breathing and swimming helps him last longer in choke situations.
Soma knows in working out with Minakov, he knows how good Minakov is in the wrestling area, and he's not gonna try to push it in that. Why am I gonna try to push into where he's really strong? I know how good he is there. I want to keep him on his feet. I want to stay on the outside, and I just want to start putting shots on him that start to frustrate him, make him extend, and give me an opportunity to land the big one.
Minakov more stalking than anything else. Said full marks for Soma for taking this fight that a lot of guys didn't want. There were some veterans in Bellator that said, nah, I'm not going to go to Moscow to fight Minakov.
That's not something that's an easy thing. And going to Russia is one thing. Fighting Minakov just brings all the more to it. Minakov doing a very nice job of cutting Soma off and forcing him many times. You see which way he's going right now. He's going to his right, which is good. He doesn't want to go to Minakov's right, but at times Minakov's been cutting off and forcing him that way. That's leading him into his power.
Soma staying careful. Now Minakov comes in with a combination and uses it to pin Soma against the fence.
Nice.
That's a nice inside trip, yep.
And that's what I'm talking about with that wrestling. He's so good, relaxed in the positions, sees the opportunity, feels that balance point, takes away the leg. Great takedown by Minakov.
A dangerous spot for Soma because Minakov lands one of those from up there.
Nice quick kick up high by Soma, and that kick up high is a good thing because most of the time that's not going to be something that Minakov's going to be able to catch. He's not going to be able to get the takedown. His hands are going to be coming up to block. He wants to make sure that he uses those high kicks. Low kicks to the calf are great. Stay away from the mid-range up on the high thigh area. Those are the ones that are easier for him to catch and take you down.
That right stumbled Soma.
That was a big shot. That landed clean. A lot of it was the actual pad on the cage that made Soma stumble, but he got touched by that shot.
Minakov comes in. He didn't miss an overhand right by much, and Soma walked right into that left jab. Tried to charge forward and paid a price. Minakov closing distance. 3 quick shots in a row.
Minakov still has quick hands, good power.
He hasn't thrown a lot, but he's thrown in combinations.
And I think a lot of it is, he knows where he's at cardio-wise. That was a nice right hand. He's just staying within himself. He's not getting excited. He's not overextending. He's showing that veteran status that he's attained.
Step-up fight for Saeed Soma, and he felt the power of Minakov in round 1. Saeed Soma talked to us in this fight with Minakov about he's traditionally been a slow starter. He didn't start slow against Sonny Marks. The opportunity was there for him to get that fight. He went and got it. But this may be a situation where you don't want to start slow, but obviously his advantage would be in the later rounds here.
Yeah, that right there was the inside trip. But look at the shot. That's a good shot. That Minikov, it just hit the upper chest area right off of the chin. But Soma's going to have to figure out how he can attack. He's got to bring more offense. You've got to make, that was a good, clean right hand by Minikov. He's got to make Minikov have to deal with something for him to slow down that offense.
You got the feeling in talking to Vitaly Minikov the other day, I mean, he's trained with so many guys over the years that he sort of remembered Saeed Soma, but not really. Whereas Saeed Soma, you better believe when you train with a former world champion, you remember it.
Yeah, that's a big moment. That's cool.
Yeah. Not much doubt about round one. There's
nice.
A good leg kick.
Oh, that hurt.
A couple of them.
There we talk. Look, take a look already. Look at that mark on that lower calf. That's a kick that Soma needs to go back to. I told you, that kick down low or up high, he can do those because Minikov's not going to be able to reach it.
Minikov throwing his to set up these heavy shots.
Soma definitely is having a grip problem.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
He's feeling like that canvas is slick. He's been sliding with his feet a lot.
Soma went for that same spot, that same leg kick, paid a price for it. Left got in. Soma's trying to figure out how he can get inside here. Got a leg kick in, but again, gonna pay for it every time. Good left jab.
See, that was a good attack by Soma, but got hit by that left. It made him step back.
And you run out in the rain, you're gonna get wet. That one's a heavy leg kick. This is the co-main event. Fedor Emelianenko, Tim Johnson coming up next. Saeed Soma put himself on the map in the top 10 at heavyweight with an impressive first-round knockout last time out. This would really elevate his status if he can steal the win against the former world champion.
Definitely, he has to increase his offensive output. So that you can tell. Take a look at the damage on the leg.
Easy to see.
Evident, and it's working, and he needs to go back to the well.
So you don't have to see the damage. You can just see the way Minikov is moving or not moving.
Well, that's going to affect his ability to get the takedown. Everything that's happening right now with that low calf kick, it's altering what Minikov can do offensively.
Soma quicker on the counters. Able to land a couple without getting hit.
You know, we talked to Saeed about, you know, when you train with Minikov, you know how good he is in the wrestling. Why did you take this fight? Plainly put, he goes, man, a wrestling match. Because I think I can beat him in the fight. That's what he's trying to do with those low calf kicks.
He has the confidence of youth. He has the cardio of youth. He has the movement of youth. But Minikov still has got those bombs.
Soma really needs to go back to that calf kick. That's a nice catch to the leg. Trying to come with the right hand straight down. You can see Minikov is absolutely aware of that calf kick now. Taking measures to make sure it does not land again. So every time he takes that step forward like that right there, that's when Soma needs to time his attack and come with that kick.
Middlecoff inching closer here, trying to cut off the cage as we get into the later stages of round 2. Soma has scored that calf kick, and that's the best overhand right he's been able to hit with.
I think overall, Soma has done very well in this round.
There's another one.
And if you're looking as far as damage, he might have damaged, Middlecoff more than Middlecoff has been damaging him. That was a nice check on that kick by Soma.
This is the way we thought. If Soma could survive the early storm, youth, cardio, all the above favor him, and he may just have evened this fight heading to round 3. Trying to get a look at the damage, which you saw. Age 36 is not what age 26 is.
Those leg kicks, 2 right there, one a little bit higher than the other, but those, you can see where it takes the balance of Middlecoff away. Stepping all off balance, beautiful job. That's that same sequence of leg kicks right there. And then Soma tries to push off and slips his foot on that canvas, but overall, I think this Saeed Soma landed the better shots in this round. He definitely did the damage that was more telling with those low calf kicks, and that caused Middlecoff to have problems with his offense in the round.
So now, exactly where Middlecoff did not want to be. Going to a 3rd round of a fight that may be even, and now having to do it on that left leg, which took a ton of damage in round 2.
And having to do it with a guy that cardio-wise is very strong, and you can tell that Middlecoff is starting to breathe heavier. Right now, I have this fight even. I've got it 1 round apiece. Whoever takes this round, I believe, wins the fight.
It wouldn't be shocking if Soma just a little counter left and step away. I wouldn't be shocked if a judge thought Middlecoff won the 2nd round with the stalking and cage control and landing a couple of shots, but yeah, I'm with you.
See, cage control is down the list when you talk about how you judge a fight. And if you can say who won with more effective striking or grappling, cage control has 0 outcome in that round.
I'm with you. Defined as the best place to be most of the time. It's usually more against Josh.
Yeah, always against Josh Thompson.
Two years away from the cage, a ton of damage taken on that front leg. Trying to find your cardio, find muscle memory. Fight that's suddenly not going your way, and some of the best shots on the feet from Soma.
Beautiful left-right combination by Soma. Landed cleanly, all set up by the low calf kick.
Saeed Soma looking for that landmark win, looking for the one that's going to put him on the map. And he is not only alive in this fight, he is well with 3:18 to go.
If you think back when Saeed Soma came to Bellator, they put him against Tyrell Fortune, a great wrestler again. And everyone was like, man, you put him against a tough guy in the beginning, and he fought really well. He didn't get the win, but she said, you know what, this guy can really hang with the heavyweights. He's durable, he's fast, he's smart, and he's very calm. And you're seeing it all here tonight.
He lost his pro debut, but he has won 7 of 8 since, and she mentioned that fight with Fortune was the only one he lost.
Well, look at who his pro debut is against there.
Yeah.
To give you a little sign that he might have a chance at maybe getting it back, at least getting the rematch.
Even in missing that right hook, he landed another leg kick. Soma's still very wary, as he should be, of the exceptional power of the former world champion. Spinning back fist, that connected.
It did. He actually blocked it a little bit, but it absolutely had an effect on it.
Leg kick into a combination.
Middlecoff having a problem with that left leg. Okay, what happened is Minikov obviously has broken his finger, might have dislocated it.
And that's it. It's over. Brian Miner will stop the fight.
Well, his finger is broken, and if he can't fight and he's not fighting, Brian Miner has a choice. Do I stop it based upon the injury because he injured himself? It wasn't something that was illegal. It's something legally that happens in the fight. So he's in a position of he either lets him continue on and fight with it if he's not reacting to it, but that's not what was happening. He was reacting to it, trying to fix it himself, and that's why the fight is over.
A stunner in Moscow. I don't think Vitaly Minikov realizes that the fight is over.
No, I don't think he does either. I think he thought that, oh, they'd be able to pop his finger back, and now it's fine. But this is what happens. You can't have a doctor come in on something that was legal. Now, if something illegal happened and it was what dislocated his finger, yes, you can bring the doctor in. But with what occurred, that is exactly the way Brian Miner should have handled it. It's unfortunate. You can see he's looking at his finger, it's popped. Soma actually gives him time in trying to pop it back, but when he can't do it, and it's going to be a part of the fight that he can't continue on with it in that position, now you're going to have to stop the fight. That was the right call by Brian Miner.
What are his options there? Could he have given him? I mean, he has to just continue to fight, right?
Yeah, there is no timeout here.
Right, so he has to come forward.
It's no different than it's an injury. Same as if I hit you and I cut you, it's an injury. Can you continue on with it? Is it going to affect you in the fight? And it's affecting him. That's why he's stopping right there.
And I just want people to understand that's essentially surrendering.
Exactly.
And Said Soma has scored a monumental upset here in Moscow. He has beaten the former world champion. Michael C. Williams will make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to injury, the red corner unable to continue. Therefore, the bout waved off officially. 3 minutes, 8 seconds into round number 3. The winner by TKO, Said Soma.
A stunner. A disappointing way to end it, but Said Soma might have been on his way to winning that fight anyway.
Absolutely. That's the one thing that needs to be brought up. If you're taking a look, I had that fight even, and if you're looking at who was winning the third round, it might have been Soma was the guy that was just a little bit ahead in that, so you can't say that, oh, this is unfortunate because the fight was taken away from Minikov. Soma was fighting a very smart and intelligent fight.
Fedor Emelianenko standing by in the main event, part of a monster fall here on Showtime. Next month's Showtime Championship Boxing is back. November 6th, the pound-for-pound king Canelo Alvarez squares off against undefeated champion Caleb Platt for the undisputed super middleweight championship presented by PBC, live on Showtime pay-per-view. Then on December 5th from the Staples Center in LA, boxing's hottest attraction, Gervonta Davis, will defend the WBA lightweight championship against the unbeaten #1 ranked lightweight contender, Rolando Romero, live on Showtime pay-per-view. 2 incredible fight nights coming your way. And in Moscow, 1 incredible main event right now.
pouring it on early. Looking to finish it right here, right now. It is all over! Tim Johnson!
And the thing is, for months, everybody speculated, John, who's it going to be? Who's going to be the one to fight Fedor? All these names were mentioned, Alistair Overeem, Junior Dos Santos, and it has turned out to be the latest chapter in this remarkable second act for Tim Johnson.
You know, you look at the reason why Tim Johnson was selected, it was because he was in the upper grouping of the heavyweights, and Fedor says, I want to fight someone that's real. I'm not going to sit here and fight someone that everyone expects me to win. I want to fight someone that can actually come in here and challenge me and put me in a position where I have to fight my best to get that victory.
Tim Johnson just fought Valentin Moldavsky for the interim heavyweight championship. The Fedor Emelianenko of 2005 is obviously not the same fighter in 2021. But every time we have seen Fedor inside the Bellator cage, it's been action, action, action.
That's exactly what he brings. He brings an explosiveness to the fight. He goes after the fight. He does not hang back and try to be that guy who's just trying to walk away with a decision win. He wants to win this fight by knockout, by submission, or by TKO, ground and pounding someone. This is a guy that you gotta love the way that he just performs. He is still fast. I will tell you, I'd worked out with him long ago, back in that 2006 time, and he was so fast and so hard to keep up with. I realized, oh my God, it's not that he's real strong, it's the speed. The speed creates a situation where heavyweights have a hard time staying with him. He still has speed. His hand speed is impressive, and he still has big power, and that will always get you a good win when it lands.
An icon, a legend, a national hero comes home. And the moment is close at hand. 39 wins, the fighter of the decade in the first full decade in which the sport existed. And tonight, all of it comes full circle as the GOAT comes home.
Throughout our lives, we have certain people that are iconic in their sports. Ali in boxing, Tyson in boxing, but Fedor in MMA is an iconic figure. We're talking about a guy that many people would consider the greatest of all time in the heavyweight division.
Я не обращаю на это внимания. Я равнодушен к этому. Я должен делать свое дело максимально хорошо. Вот и все. Знаете, я очень доволен своей карьерой, слава Богу. Слава Богу, Господь дал мне большую, длинную, насыщенную, яркую карьеру спортивную.
This is a guy that never boasted about how good he is. He went basically 31 fights without a loss for 10 years, facing the who's who of heavyweights, coming out with a victory time and time again.
Поставил себе цели, задачи и начал идти к своей цели потихонечку.
Is there a ton of pressure coming back to Russia and performing in front of his countrymen? No doubt about it. But if you're going to talk about a guy that has been incredible at taking that pressure and making it work for him, Fedor Emelianenko is that guy.
Сейчас я об этом не думаю. Стараюсь не думать. Ну, конечно, я, понятное дело, мы находимся здесь, дома, в России. Очень ответственно, и мне всегда, конечно, бои мои, я к ним максимально ответственно подхожу. Вот, но у себя дома хотелось бы, конечно, победить, чтобы наши зрители, россияне порадовались.
Fedor is aware of everything that Tim Johnson has done in his career, and he believes that he's one of the best fighters out there. He does not want to fight someone of a lower level.
Fortune favors the bold, and Johnson has knocked Tyrell Fortune out cold.
Tim Johnson coming to Russia, this is not an easy thing, but he has done this in the past. Take a look at what he did going to Paris, the hometown of Czech Congo, and putting on an incredible performance. He believes that he has what it takes to beat the last emperor, Fedor Emelianenko.
You know, first probably 2-3 weeks, it was like, man, the jitteriness of, I'm fighting Fedor, you know, going to Russia. And I had to kind of reel myself in a little bit and realize, you know, yeah, he has a lot of mystique about him, but this is just another fight, another opponent who's standing in front of me and my goals. This is nothing personal. This is just a sport, and you know, we're just out here to challenge each other and see who's better on that night.
Я надеюсь, что это будет очень красивый и интересный бой. Слава богу, в моей карьере было, практически все бои были интересны. Было несколько таких вязких боев, но надеюсь, что этот бой будет красивым и запомнится нашей публике.
And now, ready to make his way to the cage, Tim Johnson.
Something, Big John. You want to hear an irony? Real American, Rick Derringer's song, wasn't written for Hulk Hogan. It was written for another tag team in the WWF back then. The irony is that everybody thought it was going to be somebody other than Tim Johnson that was going to get this fight. You know all the names that were listed, and yet it is Tim Johnson's night. It is Tim Johnson's moment. He turned his career around when he decided to take a break from military service and go extreme couture. But what happened in Vegas didn't stay in Vegas. A 3-fight win streak, interim world title fight, and now this unique Willy Wonka type invitation. It seems like you're 1 in a million, but be careful what you wish for when you get it.
Yeah, it's that golden ticket. Is it the golden ticket? You know, we're going to find out, but the part that you got to love, and when you say handpick, a lot of people say that. Fedor was able to pick the guy that he was going to face in Russia, but he didn't pick the easy guy. He picked the guy that can definitely win, and the way that Tim Johnson can win, his keys to victory are utilize cautious pressure, but put pressure on Fedor. Fedor, make him go backwards, and when you can, get the takedown and be in the top position. In the top position, he can do a lot of damage.
On May 15th, 1941, the White Sox crushed the Yankees 13-1, the only run, a meaningless RBI single from Joe DiMaggio. What we didn't know, it was the first of a 56-game hit streak that 80 years later has become mythical. In November of '71, no one noticed when the Lakers beat the Baltimore Bullets, but they wouldn't lose for 2 months, a 33-game win streak that no one has come close to touching. On June 5th, 1982, at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, rookie Cal Ripken got the start at shortstop for the Orioles. He wouldn't miss another game for 16 years, a streak that could live forever. Well, on April 6, 2001, 5 months before 9/11, when Randy Couture and Tito Ortiz, Pat Miletich, Jens Pulver were the UFC champions, on April 6, 2001, a 24-year-old Fedor Emelianenko choked out his opponent in a minute. What no one knew, what no one could have imagined, is it would start a 10-year, 27-fight win streak that is the stuff of legends, as many legends were on the losing end. And they all began with this walk.
And now, the last Emperor, Fedor Emelianenko.
He approaches the cage with that cathedral calm. It always reminds you that if he looks like a man going to church, it's because he is.
He is going to where it is home for him, and he is just a iconic figure in our sport. That walk, the way that he looks down, the lack of expression, the lack of everything. That is Fedor, and it is what has drawn millions of people to him and to the way that he conducts himself, the way that he represents the sport of MMA and the country of Russia. Keys to victory for Fedor Emelianenko. Use the angles that you are so good with. His footwork is fantastic to defend the takedown that Tim is going to try, and speed is the key. Use those fast hands and light him up when you can.
Let's check out the tail of the tape in the main event as Fedor Emelianenko returns to his home country.
Our tail of tape for this heavyweight matchup, you can look at the record of 39-6. It's unbelievable, but it's the weight. That hybrid 233 that Fedor has always been against the monster size of Tim Johnson at 264.
Main event time, goosebump time. Michael C. Williams time.
Bellator MMA live on Showtime from VTB Arena here in Moscow. The time has come for the main event of the evening. 3 5-minute rounds in the heavyweight division. Sanctioned by the Mohegan Tribe Department of Athletic Regulation. Chairman James Gessner, supervising at cage side director Mike Mazzulli. And now, introducing the blue corner first. At 6'3", weighing in 264 pounds, just off his title challenge tonight. Along with his #2 ranking, he brings 15 professional victories, 7 defeats by way of Lamberton, Minnesota. He fights out of Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, presenting Tim Johnson. And across the cage, his adversary, the legend, fights out of the red corner. At 6 foot, weighing in 233.5 pounds, widely regarded as the greatest of all times. He stands with an incomparable professional record of 39 victories, just 6 losses, and 30 of those finishes. He stopped 27 of the opponents in the very first round. Ladies and gentlemen, hailing from Stolyarsko, Russia, introducing the last Emperor, Fedor Emelianenko. And when the bell rings, the referee in charge, Jacob Montalvo.
We didn't get to see Babe Ruth play in Yankee Stadium, but we're going to get to see Fedor fight in Moscow. Later fights in Fedor's career have been quick. A lot made of the weight difference here between these two as Tim Johnson came in right at the heavyweight limit.
Well, where the weight will make a big difference is if Tim Johnson can get on top of Fedor. It's going to cause him problems because Tim is not only big and has a lot of weight, he's got a lot of base and skill. But it's the speed of Fedor's hands that Tim's got to be careful of. That little nice check hook right there that landed, he needs to be very careful of where he opens up because Fedor's hands, he likes to keep him down and he comes from odd angles with his punches.
Where has Good combination. Tim Johnson just walking right into it, swinging for the fences.
Not a bad move by Tim Johnson.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do.
See, even at his age, Fedor's hands are so quick. Where has Extreme Couture helped Tim Johnson the most?
Oh, where they've really helped him is they've made him understand how to move his head off the center line, how to attack with his hands. You see how he dipped his head there, came off the center line? That's huge, because when your head's down the center, it's there for your opponent to hit, and he was getting hit. Now he's not. He's getting those shots in like that and not accepting a lot of damage.
Left jab by Fedor. Two monster shots by Fedor. And the GOAT comes home and reigns supreme.
So much pressure is on that man to come out in front of his countrymen and perform to that level and have that type of outcome.
He knew exactly where he is, even if Tim Johnson right now doesn't.
Yeah, that left hook set it all up. Watch the left hand. Bip right there, you see that? And then the right. Big time power. He has always had it, and fast hands. Big combination that puts Tim Johnson out.
And how Fedor was the finish.
Watch the setup. Right hand,
the left,
here comes the left.
right there.
And he's stunned and out. You see him going down. He is out, going down.
Not just a trademark Fedor knockout, but no extra shots, no standing over his opponent.
Classy as ever.
And the most stoic of all, looking at the things that make him smile the most.
You got to give it to Tim Johnson.
He stood there.
He came in and he came in to fight.
Yep.
He was trading shots. He came close in that first exchange. He touched Fedor with a good shot. He was able to survive it. Tim Johnson came to Russia to prove that he was the better fighter. He came here to put it on Fedor and just didn't end for him the way he wanted.
21 years after win number 1, Michael C. Williams makes official win number 40.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, it comes to an end. 1 minute, 46 seconds into round number 1. The winner by knockout, the last Emperor, Fedor Emelianenko.
He is the last Emperor, but clearly it does not feel like this was his last fight.
Not after that performance. He ain't gonna end. And it's always unfortunate because you look and you say, when is it that you will? He's now 40-6 as a professional fighter. What more does he have to prove? But his biggest problem is, Sean, he loves this.
You can go home again, and maybe he will one more time. The GOAT is with Mika Vino.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with the winner, Fedor Emelianenko. Fedor, many consider you to be the greatest fighter of all time, and tonight you've demonstrated why. Fedor, очень много фанатов ММА по всему миру считают вас лучшим бойцом всех времен и народов. Сегодня вы продемонстрировали почему. Согласны ли вы с этим мнением?
Добрый день, дорогие мои друзья. Спасибо вам большое, спасибо вам огромное за поддержку всех нас. Я сегодня особенно рад, сегодня все мои ребята победили, и вообще наши ребята, россияне, удачно выступали. Вот. Виталию только немножко не повезло. Вот. Но, слава Богу, победили, и в такой трудный период времени мы сумели вас порадовать.
Thank you everyone for your support tonight. I'm especially happy for the Russian fighters. Everyone did well. Vitaly was a little bit unlucky, and I'm extremely grateful that we were able to make you happy. Every fighter from your team won tonight. What makes your club so dominant? Как раз вопрос о вашей команде. Все бойцы из вашей команды сегодня одержали победу. А какая вы считаете основная причина доминирования вашего клуба сегодня?
Ну, слава Богу, ребята идут без поражений. Вот, у нас уже 2 чемпиона, и надеемся, что скоро будет 3-й. Ну и будем готовить 4-го.
Thank God that everyone managed to win tonight. We already have 2 champions, and we're gonna prepare another one. Many of these people came here to support you. It's been a while since you fought last in Russia. What does it mean to you? Большинство людей сегодня пришло поболеть именно за вас. Прошло достаточно много времени после вашего последнего поединка на территории России. Что это значит для вас?
Знаете, я очень рад, я очень счастлив, что сегодня Bellator проходит здесь, в Москве, что вы, дорогие друзья, смогли окунуться в эту атмосферу в очередной раз. Но я уже давно не выступал, и ребята мои тоже в России. Поэтому мы очень рады, мы очень счастливы выступать для вас. Для нас это большое событие.
It's a huge event for us. It's been a while since I fought last in Russia, so it is a very big deal, and I'm happy that we managed to be successful. MMA is incredibly popular in Russia, largely thanks to you. You paved the way. What advice would you have to Russian young up-and-coming fighters? ММА очень популярный спорт в России, во многом благодаря вам. Какой у вас будет совет для молодых спортсменов, которые, возможно, только думают начать профессиональную карьеру в ММА?
Для молодых спортсменов хочу сказать, что их желания не расходились с работоспособностью, трудолюбием. Если вы хотите больших результатов, если хотите быть успешным в любом виде спорта, то, конечно, нужно много работать. Вот это совет моим молодым бойцам, которые хотят биться.
The advice that I would have for young fighters is that their desire to participate matches their willingness to put in the work. Дамы и господа, победитель сегодняшнего боя Fedor Емельяненко. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the main event, Fedor Емельяненко.
He has dominated a generation while preparing the next one to dominate the next decade. An extraordinary night for Team Fedor, capped by Fedor's knockout win in the main event. Dynasty. If you missed any part of today's fight card, Showtime has you covered. Check your listings for encore replays of Bellator MMA on Showtime later tonight, and then on Showtime Extreme. And our world tour continues. We're back in the Bellator cage. Heads to Dublin on Friday, November 5th. But Tricky Pitbull gets a shot at both redemption and the newly vacated lightweight world title, as he will have the rematch with Peter Queally. That is Friday, November 5th, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific. That'll be live on Showtime, and Patchy Mix and James Gallagher in a big co-main event. Coming up next, an inside look at Showtime's next massive pay-per-view event. It is All Access, Canelo versus Platt. The Bellator cage arrived in Moscow, and it did not disappoint. One of the best 185ers in the world, Anatoly Tokov, kicked things off. So many expectations for him. A potential world title shot for him in the future in 2022. He had the weight of the world on his shoulders as this started. And it was a very difficult fight with his training partner. Sharaf Dalamuradov, the two good friends, battled for 3 full rounds, and they split decision win for Anatoly Tokov. He goes to 6-0 in Bellator, 30-2, making his case for a middleweight title shot. Then Patrick Patila, he was game, but he was outmatched by Usman Nurmagomedov, who dominates in a first-round submission win with that rear naked choke. And here was one of the stories of the night. Said Soma survived the early onslaught from Vitaly Minakov, and the swimmer got Minakov into deep water, started to chop him down, and then in round 3, a freak accident, a dislocated finger for Minakov right there, and Said Soma scores the biggest win of his career. But this night was always about Fedor Emelianenko. He ended it in style. For John McCarthy, I'm Sean Grande. The last emperor returns home, a conquering hero.